Hello. Selfishness is one of the problems that we all suffer from time to time. Selfishness is not just wanting that last piece of cake. Selfishness can also be an attitude of heart and mind. Selfishness can be a problem for us, so much so that in our workshop manual, the Bible, it's mentioned from time to time, and attention is drawn to it so that we avoid becoming selfish. Such is our passage today. It comes from the letter from James in the New Testament. James, who was probably the half-brother of Jesus, that's another story, writes this letter of practical instructions to the early church, saying this is how you should live, this is what you should avoid. And in the first chapter of James, verses 14 and 15, he says this: each one is tempted when, by his own evil desire, he is dragged away and enticed. Then, after desire has conceived, it gives birth to sin. And sin, when it is full grown, gives birth to death. That's heavy, isn't it? Heavy sounding words. So what is he saying here? He's saying that we all have within us the innate human ability to desire things which are not necessarily right or good for us or for the world in general. We know that. It happens from time to time in our lives when we get a bit selfish about things. And when we desire those things, well, that's the beginning of the slippery slope. Because when that desire gives way to action, that's when sin, doing wrong things, is born. We talk a lot about, or hear a lot about sin, don't we, from the church and from the Bible. And maybe it's misconstrued by many people. Sin isn't just being a bad person. It isn't just doing horrible things. Sin is part of our human nature. It's who we are. We are people who get things wrong and do things for selfish reasons. And when we think of those things and then take action on them, that's what sin is. And then he goes on to say, but sin, when it matures, gives birth to death. Meaning that if we follow that path of sin, of doing the wrong things in our lives, leading the wrong kind of lives, well, there's no fruit in it for us in this life and not in the next life either. It leads to extinction. It leads to the end of our lives. The contrary, of course, is that if we do the right things, follow the right path, believe in the right things, we have life everlasting because of what Jesus has done on the cross. So that's the path we should take, not always the path we do take. How do we stop ourselves from following those desires we have to do and say the wrong things? No surprises for guessing I'm going to point us back to a certain workshop manual and say, read the stuff in here on a regular basis, and it will keep pointing you in the right direction. The most significant part of that direction that it points you in is the person of Jesus. And it's holding fast to who Jesus is and what he says and what he does that helps us, prevents us from becoming people of sin. It's simple, really. It's only we who complicate it by trying to excuse ourselves or trying to wrestle away from the things that are obvious to us if we are only honest with ourselves. To avoid becoming sinners, we need to become people of Christ, followers of Christ, Christian people. Don't know how to dress that up any better or different for you. You've just got to put in the hard work of reading the Bible and talking to Jesus. It's not that hard, really, is it? Everybody can do it. That's why Jesus said it out like that. Anyway, that's enough for today. Get stuck into it, and I'll see you tomorrow. Bye now.